incidents around the world, and it goes to potentially people who have knowledge of things that have occurred in a terrorist way. Now, if the police say this is information we don't want released because the release of that information will jeopardise the investigation both here and overseas, then the only responsible thing that I can do is to abide by what they've said. You've seen today the federal police have come out and condemned as inappropriate and I think irresponsible and unprofessional the release by Dr. Haneef's lawyers of this second transcript.
But are there other doctors, or at least one other doctor, related to this case who came to Australia?
I can't answer the question because it's not information that I'm at liberty to disclose.
Can I ask it in a fairly straightforward way? Could that other man be Dr. Asif Ali, Dr. Haneef's friend, who got caught up in all of this and was found to have dodgy credentials?
Well, there is an investigation which has been ongoing in relation to Dr. Ali. Dr. Ali has now left the country, but there is an ongoing investigation relating to this matter broadly.
An ongoing investigation related to whether he was connected to the other parties in this case, that is, Sabeel and Kafil, those arrested in Britain.
Yeah. Look, Tony, I know what you're trying to get at and what you would like me to say, and that is to confirm or deny what you're putting to me. But the reality is that I'm bound by the confidentiality of the material which was given to me by the federal police, and I'm not going to break that confidentiality when I have as eminent authority as the Chief Commissioner of the Australian Federal Police saying to me that this information should not be released. I would like to release all the information to the general public about this matter, but I've got to be responsible, and we've got to balance national security along with the release of information to the public.
If Dr. Asif was involved or is still under investigation, why was he allowed to leave the country?
Well, there was no charge had been pressed against him, and if a person is not subject to a charge, then they are free to leave this country.
What's the current status of his visa in that case?
Well, I'd like to know from the Queensland medical authorities what is the outcome of their investigation. He has a visa, a work visa still, despite the fact that he has left Australia. That means he could come back into Australia under that work visa. There is an investigation by the Queensland Health Authority into whether or not he should be reprimanded or dismissed from his position. And there is an investigation by the Queensland Medical Board based on the false information that he provided as part of his credentials as to whether he should not be disciplined. Now, we rely on granting a visa on that information, those assurances that we get from Queensland Health and from the Queensland Medical Board. At the time for Dr. Ali to reply has, I understand it, passed, and yet we still have no decision from the Queensland Health authorities as to the status of this man. And it's about time, I think, Premier Beattie got the health authorities to actually make a decision about this case, and further than that, give an assurance to the people of Queensland that there are no other doctors about whom there may be questions in terms of their qualifications or their record.
There's no indication that Dr. Asif even intends to come back to Australia, as far as I know, and were he to having dodgy credentials, would probably